everyone. This is Cert Instructor Ron. Hey, I got something very, very, very important to talk to you today, especially if you're a Cert member. Okay, so let's just get right into it. But before we do, please like and subscribe. Don't have to, but just asking you to so I can present good information to you. Now, here's what we're going to talk about today. Well, we see in the CERT videos um, and trainings that everything is done, it seems to be, in a city or a town. But let me tell you, that's not so. Sometimes it's in these out of the way places where a tornado hits and they know where the tornadoes hit at particular and cross the country, with the cows and the coyotes and the birds singing and the ponds and the trees. So out in the middle of nowhere, per se. And so when that happens, they have to get out and check those people too. But here's the thing, here's a caveat to it. In 2013, I worked the Moore tornado. I also worked the Reno tornado, and they were two totally different animals. And I worked relief in Shawnee, Oklahoma, which is about, I guess, give or take, 30 miles, 40 miles east on I 40. And during those times, it was a busy time of the year for me. Um, in 2013, they had an EF4 that was out in the country. And so I didn't do any of the search and rescue on that particular tornado. But what I want to do is explain something to you, and this is very important to understand. So, we were working relief out there in the Shawnee area, and we would take people water, maybe some food, put up some tarps for them, saw logs, whatever we had to do so those people could leave their property. And a lot of people, I can't say a lot, but a number of people were trapped. And so we had chainsaws that were available to us, and we were told to take, the last house that we left, leave them the chainsaw. So we did, no big deal. And so what I want to say is that you need to understand that those people in Shawnee were expecting the help. They knew that the help was going to show up. They had phone lines, perhaps, or cell phones in most regards, and they knew somebody was going to come and help them. And somebody contacted those people and said, "Hey, we're going to send some people out to chainsaw the branches in the way so you can leave your property." So people were very appreciative of it, but they knew, that's a caveat, they knew we were coming. And so we would show up with, 3 to 5 people, put tarps on the roof, whatever we had to do, chainsaw stuff, move stuff, clean up some debris, and we were done. We don't always take them water, and they found out before going, that what these people needed, so we could take them water, carry cases of water with us, and they were very appreciative. Let me tell you. And so you had a sense that people were very trusting. However, again, when a disaster happens, maybe it's a large disaster in a town or a city, a lot of people can see and they know one another. They know their neighbor, so it's a much more trusting, I'm going to say trusting environment than those people that live rural on an acreage that who knows what they have. They could be farmers or whatever, or cattle ranchers or horse people, who knows. But what I found in El Reno is that a lot of times when we pulled up to people's houses that did or did not get hit by the tornado, we wanted to check up on those people, doing a wellness check. And so we had a briefing, and I was given a particular plot of land between, a couple of roads, and we were to go out and check everybody. And what I can tell you is this, is that I had my pickup, and we would pull up to somebody's house, and there was times that people came out and said, "Oh no, we're fine here," but some people wouldn't answer the door, And the reason they wouldn't answer the door is they don't trust you. They don't know you. They didn't know you were coming. And so that's totally different in many regards than the people in the city. Now, chaos can break out in the city too with large disasters. It can be the same thing with criminals running around. So, what I'm getting at is that when you come to somebody's house, um, it may be a little hard for them to identify exactly who you are. It's one thing to say you are one person or with an organization, but they don't know the facts. They don't know who you are, who you're working for. They may have never heard of you. So, what I'll tell you this is that if you're in a situation and you've been deployed, it's a good idea to get a list of names of the local sheriff, police, whoever, fireman, fire chief, something in town that or somebody in town that's important that people can check out. And a lot of times people may feel comfortable because you know all those people. And a lot of times what we want to do is build a friendly relationship. And so I have a bullhorn and we would tell people, hey, we're here to help. Here's who we are, whatever. And some people would come out and it'd be kind of standoffish. And then, we'd offer them water or whatever we could do for them or see if there was damage. And some people are going to stand on the front porch and they're going to probably have a gun on them or nearby. And if you do something funny, you may get shot. And that's because they know in disasters there's a lot of people that go around and pretend they're there to help, but they're there to rob you. And so they're very paranoid. So you have to gain the trust of the people. So what I'm going to tell you, again, is know those names, know those people. Sometimes it's good if you can have some law enforcement agency or fireman with you if you're doing search and rescue. They may be tied up doing technical rescue or something else, so you may be on your own. And I don't know if you have 2 or 3 people with you. It just depends on the number of people and the gear. So what I would tell you is if you do have something like a bullhorn or you can yell, you tell people, and if nobody answers, go to the door, knock on the door, and back up. And don't have your hands in your pocket. Always leave your hands visible. And I would almost say in some cases, have the hat on, whatever. Maybe a vest, maybe not, because people may think you're hiding something under the vest. I don't know. But identify who you are, what you're with, and whatever. And some people may come to the window, they may crack a door, and there may be a shotgun on the other side. You don't know. But I do know this, that there have been times that people have went out on these disasters and did exactly what I said, because there's no exact way. But anyways, they knock on the door, and sometimes before they could even get up the steps, they had a shotgun pointed at them. And so in that case, you need to leave your hands visible and up and tell people, here, we're here to help you. Here's who we are. And if you know the name of the sheriff, whatever, let them know. And keep your hands visible. Don't do any tricky stuff. Back up. If you want to leave them something, or they say we're fine or something, ask them about, hey, can we leave you some water? Can we leave you this? Don't try to shake those people's hands, because they probably are not going to do it. Now, there are other people, you roll up on their property, they take you at face value. And at that point in time, you can have a relationship with them, tell them who you are, the sheriff sent you, the fire chief, whatever. And there's a good chance in those small communities like I came from that they're going to know exactly who the fire chief is. Everybody knows them. They know somebody at the diner. And so if you have a name, use those names so that they know they're going to be more trusting. And that's the thing I want to impart to you today, that often with CERT training or other training, they tell us that perhaps, they're from the government, we're here to help. And there's a lot of people that commit a lot of fraud in the name of helping other people, and that could be people trying to get money from people to fix their roofs or their property, and they want a down payment of $4,000, and these people write that check, and that money's gone. So there's a lot of mistrust during disasters, and that's something that you, as a CERT person, need to know. There's going to be people that are mistrustful. There's going to be people that they're so desperate for help. Um, who knows what they're going to do? They'll put their guard down just to get help. But you, as a CERT person, need to understand the psychology of it all and do certain things to gain that trust. And I think the biggest thing you can do is appear to be open and honest. And again, if you have something that you can leave with people, water, maybe some food, something, I don't know, leave that with people, even if they're pointing a gun at you. You can say things sometimes like, "Hey, I'm going to leave you some water and set it on the porch or in the yard, and get in your vehicle and leave if everything's okay." And that's why it's important too to have communications. This is why I keep pointing the ham radio. Get yourself a ham, and the reason being that if you have to, you can get on the radio and tell somebody what's going on, and maybe it's old George at the fire station or somebody that can talk to that person and let them know, yes, you're here to help. And that's another good reason you should have ham. In El Reno, they gave us HTs, and we went out so far, and I was surprised that we couldn't even use the HTs to communicate back to the fire station. And that was part of what led me to become, tripping on my tongue today, a ham radio operator. And had I had my ham and we set up there at the fire station, it would have been a whole lot easier to communicate. So quite often we could hear them talking because they have a higher antenna, and so we could hear them, but they couldn't hear us. And so they would have to wait because they'd check in with us ever so often, want to know progress, whatever, what damage we found, and we'd have to report back on radio, but we'd have to be on top of a hill to do it. And I'm telling you, it's another good reason to have a ham in disaster. And ham's a standard. Look it up, check it out. I've had a lot of people disagree with me, but when communications go down, it's we ham operators that step up and make that communications happen. That's all I got. All I'm just saying is, if you find yourself in a rural area or in a untrusting environment with people, there's just certain things you need to know that you're not going to get during CERT training. And that is, like I said, leave your hands out of your pockets. Don't do anything funny. Talk to people. Tell them exactly what you're going to do. Like, I'm going to go here and get you a case of water and set it on your porch or your yard. Don't just walk over to your truck and get it, but tell these people, talk to them. And if there's people with you, you may want to leave those people in the vehicle, or if they're standing around, make sure they're in the clear. They're not fidgeting, not doing anything funny, just standing there. And if one of you wants to go get a case of water for somebody, do that. But, you know, you want to communicate and make sure these people understand you're there to help them. And it's important, like I said, to have a list of names that people can contact. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. But if they know, you know who the fire chief is and the police chief and whoever else, it's very important that these people know, because what you've just did is establish a connection with these people that they can verify you with. And so it's very important. I'm just telling you, it's something that CERT doesn't teach, but that's what's going to happen in rural areas. People are mistrusting. I can tell you right now, my mom, when she was alive, kept a shotgun all the time around, and we had a long driveway, and we could see people coming onto the property. Some people they knew by their vehicles. They knew exactly who the person was, but a lot of times if somebody came down the driveway, they were mistrusting, and they actually had an alarm up that once you got to a certain point in the driveway, even though they could see you most often, if they were sitting down and didn't have access to the window, they get a ding dong and go to the window and see exactly who that was. So I'm just telling you, that's how a lot of country folks are. They want to trust people, but again, a lot of people don't trust the government. And if you have something with Cert on, they may not know who Cert is. You have to explain it to them and let them know that you're there to help. And that's all I got, but it's very important that working disasters, if you go on somebody's property and nobody responds to you, yell out, call out, don't just circle the house. It makes people feel paranoid. If you want to talk out loud and say things like, well, let's check the property out and make sure everybody's okay, but give them a chance to answer the door, come to you. If not, um, give it a good search and when I say a good search, just check and make sure there's no damage and report it. And those people maybe have left the property or they're hunkered down inside because they don't trust you. So that's all I got. Well, I hope you like this video. It is something that CERT doesn't talk about, but if you get out there in the middle of nowhere, um, that's what you're going to expect. So that's it. Peace out.